English? Yes. Yes. Turn off screen shake. I don't know. Do I need screen shake? No. Warning, this visual novel contains death, violent content, animal cruelty, imprisonment, and suicide from tall places. Gotcha. Presented by Fornoki. Gotcha. Who is the Red Queen? Alrighty then. So, hi, my name is CJ, and welcome to Who is the Red Queen? I've been keeping track of this a little bit from Studio Élan's Patreon, and it just got released like a few hours ago at midnight. And let's not dilly dally. This is basically a summarized it as a lesbian visual novel of the Alice in Wonderland, but more horror. I already love the UI. It looks really good. So without further ado, let's go. Down the rabbit hole. Ho. I've been a fan of... Well, I descended through a starry sky. My long blonde hair and red cape flew wildly as I looked to the ground below me with my blue eyes. Falling, falling, falling. I was falling. Down this rabbit hole with no start nor end, I was falling. Where had I gone? Where could I go? Where are you going? Cotton-eyed Joe. As if I were forgetting something very important, I fell down, down, and down through a sparkling, shining darkness. Too bright to be dark, too dark to be bright. I must have been chasing after someone, after something. Like a girl whose curiosity was piqued by a rabbit with a watch, I was falling, falling, falling. Down, down, down. Again, again, again. This endless well seemed to lead everywhere, yet nowhere at once. Either the hole extended very deep, or I descended very slow. Was I truly even going downward? Perhaps this was all a dream, a fever dream, or in more words, a fantasy that would be as soon as forgotten as it was had. I held just one certainty. I was Alice. Alice was me. Already, I'm really loving this intro. Now then, just how long was I supposed to keep falling? The air brushed past my fingers, my cloak ruffling upward. A quiet humming breeze caressed my cheek. As if I could hear someone's voice, a pleasant voice, a woman's voice. I strained my ears for whispers in the wind. Alice, what a time for madness. Without a bit of fear or vertigo, should you not have focused on topics more pressing? Like the darkness or the light, or how you couldn't awaken from this dream. But even now, you were just falling, falling, falling. What does it matter? Okay, I'm doing voices, I guess. With a thump thump, I came upon soft grass, and the fall was over. Not a bit hurt, I forced myself to my feet. Up above my head, the firmament whence I fell had not a tear in its blue canvas. Down about my eyes, only familiar, unfamiliar surrounded me. I'm really loving this writing and this art. I started on an exploratory stroll. Oh! Soon, I stumbled upon a rabbit who looked like a girl, or a girl who looked like a rabbit. Perhaps the correct answer was that she was both a girl and a rabbit. Nicely done. She had white hair and floppy rabbit ears, pale skin and purple eyes. Her hair was tied into two low ponytails by white ribbons, a clock pin adorning her bangs. That's clever. She wore gloves, an oversized blue coat with golden accents, and a red vest over a dress shirt tied with black ribbon. She also had khaki pants tucked into boots. She looked quite scared as she stood in the forest clearing. She was even holding her hands to her chest. Not lingering much longer on the species of the rabbit before me, I called out to her. "Excuse me." Calling out to her caused her to jump. Where was this place? Why was I here? How could I leave to return home? I thought of what to ask her, but she recognized me as soon as I spoke, so my questions were lost in my mouth unasked. She looked to me with troubled eyes. "Alice?" "White Rabbit." I'm sorry, I don't have a voice. Have you seen Her Majesty? Do you know where she's gone? Where she could go? Her Majesty, the Red Queen. She must be taking a vacation of sorts. I only wish that she could have left this little rabbit a note. I'm in a bit of a panic, you see. The land can't run without its queen. She then took on a distracted look. Please let me know if you catch sight of her. I nodded. Who this Red Queen was, I had not a clue, but a tingling deja vu. Nice. Still, my acceptance of the request let the White Rabbit breathe out a sigh of relief. Just as I prepared to pose my own questions, she straightened her back in surprise. I'm afraid I have to go. I'm going to be late. I'm not doing the voices justice, I'm pretty sure. The White Rabbit dashed off. I wanted to ask him what... I wanted to ask some questions. Never mind that. Follow her, Alice. Okay, I guess I'm talking to myself. Although I chased after her with only a moment's pause, when I turned a corner, she was nowhere to be seen. There was only a forest path before me. Ooh, pretty. I found myself in a garden meticulously kept. There was a large white gazebo in the center with a table and chairs for tea. Tailing the rabbit, I barely dashed a few paces. I hadn't realized such a place was so close by. Rather, I hadn't realized I had run this far. A conjecture tickled my mind that this world I fell into was a magical place, one with paths that pointed to one way, but twisted to another. What an explanation! Much more far-fetched than me just knowing where I was running. I took a moment to catch my breath. Glancing around, I began my walk about the garden, flowers and greenery all around, with not a person in sight. This place was beautiful. It is very pretty. I wanted to meet the person who made it. Not quite a gardening person in myself, I still appreciated the pretty place and felt a swelling excitement to explore what sights could be seen. A reminder of reality then dampened my joyful curiosity. I wanted some answers, a way out, and back home. As pleasant as dreams were, one had to be able to awaken from them before they turned into nightmares. Whether this was a dream or reality had still yet to be seen. Step, step, I walked around. Hop, hop, I peered over the bushes. Soon enough, I discovered the heart of the garden, where one might sit for tea. The White Queen? I spotted a white-haired girl in the garden. To amend my previous thoughts, would it be right to say that I rather also appreciated a pretty person? Her hair was long and reached her shoulders, her skin pale and her eyes a light purple. She was also adorned with a regal blue and white dress that was long so it hid her feet. Her expression was quite distant and calm. I noticed bandages wrapped upon her right hand, which was gently clasped over her left in front of her. Frivolous thoughts flew from my mind as our eyes met. Her gaze seemed to beckon me over, so over I went to speak with her. She opened her mouth to speak. Are you enjoying the garden? The garden is beautiful. The gardener will be happy to hear that from you. However, if you have come here now, we should be searching for something. We should first introduce ourselves. She gave me a sad smile. I'm so glad I gave her that. I was going for like a sad-ish voice. I'm so glad I went with that. I am the White Queen. Just like with the rabbit, for reasons unclear to me, I already knew who she was. Here, that should be as good as a name. Your Majesty, my name is Alice. She frowned. Don't stand in ceremony, Alice. I am not someone you need to speak with particularly respectfully. Welcome to my garden in Wonderland. That sad smile returned to her face. Wonderland. I tasted the word on my tongue. I can't remember why or how I'm here. Not this garden, but Wonderland. Once again, she frowned. I was falling, and I couldn't remember why I was falling. I was simply falling, until I fell no more. I'm sure I've forgotten something very important. That pained smile returned. You needn't force yourself to remember. Some things are better left forgotten. Perhaps it was fated... Doggies. Perhaps it was fated for you to come here. Perhaps something is missing, but you must find. This world must appear like a face, like a place of dreams. Eyes. You should find the Red Queen. The missing queen, whom the white rabbit mentioned was the Red Queen. Then came a troubled look. I waited for the White Queen to continue. She hesitated to speak of the Red Queen as if the elusive royal would appear like a ghost behind her as she spoke. I tried to imagine what sort of person the Red Queen was. She will let you return to your own reality. When you meet her, you should be able to find all the answers you are seeking for. As for where she is, that is for you to discover. Do you dislike her? ... At first, she pursed her lips as if troubled again. Then came that same somber smile. That's a difficult question, Alice. So she's like that. I'll let you judge the Red Queen. You might learn something new about yourself. Okay, listen, I already have like this ongoing theory of where or who the Red Queen actually is. And I'm gonna say this now before I forget. I think Alice is the Red Queen, and it's a sort of like forgotten identity sort of story. We'll see. Shall I head off to find her now? Oh shit, I missed. Why not stay for some tea? Of course I'd love to, but it's not quite afternoon tea time yet. She smiled, this time much happier. A later time then. Certainly to have tea outside of tea time wouldn't do. That smile softened into a fond one as she lowered her lids. I won't keep you for too much longer, Alice. I'm sure you will be able to find that. It's too early. It's too early for your food. I'm sorry. I'm sure you will be able to find that person soon enough. Until later. Later. I waved goodbye to the White Queen and departed from her garden. Glancing back, I saw her gaze linger upon me. Ooh. That poor smile of hers had turned somber again. The search... Hold on. I thought it was just something, but okay, I'm writing those down because L and then C, or maybe there was something else I missed, but okay, whole L and then C. Okay, I stepped onto the twisting path in the forest. I didn't know which way to go to find the elusive Red Queen, turning left and right. To find the queen, I thought to seek a castle. However, the rabbit said that the queen was missing. So unless the rabbit had also forgotten something very important, the queen shouldn't have been at the castle. The Red Queen, she seemed like a troubling person. The way the White Queen's face froze, tongue stuttering along, at the topic of the Red Queen made me wonder, was the latter queen a tyrant or a fool? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. The fury is coming into my mind now. Because of the earlier warning in the beginning and falling. Okay, my running theory now is maybe the Red Queen is either a bad manifestation of all of Alice's negative thoughts, which pushed Alice to jump off a very high place in the real world, which caused her to land into Wonderland, and or the Red Queen is also now like something that's melded into her. We'll see. The tutor at home liked to talk about kingship of that sort. To me, either or neither were fine. After all, who were the peasantry to affect the mood of a high queen? I hummed and walked along with a skip in my step. Just as I reached the rhythm in my stride, I kicked a little something, an animal, that threw me off my beat. I slowed to applaud, my mood and note dampened. Is it the Cheshire? Soon I heard the chatter of a girl a few trees away. Seeing not much civilization here in the forest, I followed the voice of the girl. Although she was chatting, I heard her voice alone. Oh, the Hatter, okay. I passed by a few bushes and soon enough found a tea party in the middle of nowhere. At a table set before a tree sat the girl. Yes, it's too early. It's still too early, I'm sorry. The white cloth table was littered with all sorts of tea time things, from a tower with cookies and cupcakes, a rubber duck, and a cake with knives in it, pictures with dozens of tea tags and stacks of dishes. Baby, I'm sorry, it's too early. It's too early, baby. Okay. Pictures with dozens of tea tags and stacks of dishes. Wanna do that? Oh, baby. Okay. In the center, very even laid a green vase with a dead, plucked apart red rose beside it. Some petals sat in the water. The girl had long pink hair with an uneven side bangs, pale skin, first eye red and second yellow. A smile was on her features that contrasted with her eye bangs. Her outfit was just as chaotic as the table. Under her black trench coat was a loose dress shirt tied with a large purple ribbon. She also wore checkerboard purple pants and white lace-up shoes. On her gloved hands sat two hand puppets, a white hare with a yellow straw hat and a red bow tie, and a gray dormouse with a little pink flower perched by her ear. But most glaring of all was her large black top hat, wrapped haphazardly in purple ribbons, with a piece of paper taped to it. "Hello there, Alice. What did you come here for?" Her chatter ceased. Her mismatched eyes pierced through me in its place. I noticed a little fang in her mouth as she opened it. "There's no room here at the table, so don't take a seat." No room. The girl gave a wide grin, as she was wont to do frequently. In fact, it was rare the smile was wiped off her face. She moved the puppets on her hand, a sleepy mouse and a mad hare. Looking right to left, I could barely see the ends of the table set for tea. One person in such a large space. Conversely, she almost seemed lonely. "There's plenty of room, Hatta." Her smile shrunk a bit. To make my point, I took a seat in a large armchair across from the Hatter. The chair stunk of flowers as if to clear away the shadow of an unpleasant previous sitter. I sank back into it comfortably. Then I kept sinking, before I jolted back up with a shallow gasp. "There's plenty of crowd. That's rude of you to say, Alice. Not very civil of you to sit down without being invited either." She granted me a cheeky grin and a wink. "But whatever. Let's just treat you as our extra guest for tomorrow." "Not today." "Aren't they the same? Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Every day is never a day different. But since I'd rather not deal with it today, we just treat it as for tomorrow. Dormouse and March don't mind." "You mentioned 3, but I only see 1. She wiggled the puppets on her hands as if to explain everything. 1 was herself, 2 was the first puppet, 3 was the second. I'm scared Alice might be blind." Her mad smile became a mad grin once more. "That's a side effect of being Alice." Don't worry. It's just a side effect of being Alice." She sneered. The pitch of her voice warped. "Oh, how am I going to do this?" "Don't mind their comment. She is Dormouse, and he March Hare." Oh, those were voices of... Okay, oops. She paused as if waiting for me to greet the animal puppets. I waited. She waited. Her smile did not falter. In fact, it only widened in anticipation. The silence of the conversation bored me, so I relented to the Mad Hatter's wordless request. I was their guest for tomorrow, so a polite guest I decided to be. Well, hello there. Well, hello there. Her smile became ordinary again. I was scared she was deaf as well. Hello there, Alice. It seemed whenever she made the puppets talk, she often took on a more neutral expression and kept her mouth closed like a ventriloquist. Between the puppets, I much preferred the Dormouse. If a puppet could fall asleep, she looked as if she was about to do so. I felt some pity, as that meant the March Hare would speak more. What were we talking about before? A riddle? Maybe it was this one. Why is a raven like a writing desk? Oh, I remember this. Damn it. Do you have an answer to that riddle? You're no fun, Alice. Relax and have some wine. There is no wine? You are invited for tea tomorrow, Alice. It's the obligation of the host to offer a guest a drink at tea time. Maybe she was an alcoholic. Okay. Hatter, I can't in good faith call this time of day tea time, nor can I call alcohol tea. Details. Add some butter. I'm very concerned. It'll be tea time eventually, so it's tea time now. We're having tea, so it might as well be tea time, don't you think? did you come here for, anyways? Although I couldn't quite say that I had come to this tea party with a goal in mind, I figured I might as well tell her. I am searching for the Red Queen. Her brow contorted as she took a sip of her tea. Puppet sat down for just that moment. Dumping the tea away and rinsing the cup, she poured herself another drink. Her mismatched eyes narrowed. Oh, her. The Hatter placed her lips to the rim of her teacup and stared at me. A minute passed, all 60 seconds consisting of staring, before she ducked down under the table, as if to find an item and popped back up again. Alrighty. Her expression was back to its usual state. Stay and chat for a moment. I'll help you with a little something regarding Her Majesty. The Hatter poured me a cup of tea and slid over a plate of sandwiches. The Hatter's smile became wide. The plate hurtled toward me, forcing me to hurriedly grab it lest sandwiches spilled all over my lap. Luckily, the cup of tea arrived much more calmly. I took a taste, finding Earl Grey. Is it tomorrow already? At the very least, it wasn't time for afternoon tea. If I'd known I would have tea now. I would have stayed a little longer to have some with the White Queen as well. Good point. It was not that people couldn't have tea outside of afternoon tea, but it was the principle of things. If people drank tea any time of day, they would drink it all day. Good point. I sipped some more, enjoying the citrusy flavor of this black tea. Today is tomorrow for yesterday, don't you think? Good point. Unless she doesn't think. That would have been rude of you to ask. She's just normal. Orthogonal? I'm certainly sitting up quite straight. But regarding the Red Queen, do you have some news about her? I'd say I have some business with her instead. Something to do with meat and flesh and all the other red things that a Red Queen might have to do with. I have no idea what accent I'm giving Mad Hatter. I'm just trying to make myself smile more. And it's coming off as something slightly Irish, maybe. Aren't you a hatter? She grinned wildly. Yes. Not a butcher. Unless your meat is made out of hat. True. While talking about all things unappetizing, I took a bite of sandwich filled with an ambiguous color. A milky sweetness melted into my mouth. I tasted some sort of fruit inside. Maybe it was mango, or kiwi, or strawberry. Satisfied with the pleasant sweetness, I took another sip of tea. Quick save. I'll do a quick save right now. Quick save complete. Okay, I'm back, and goodness, we're still in chapter 0. So, okay, return. Okay, satisfied with the pleasant sweetness, I took another sip of tea. This tea and these sandwiches are delicious. Thank you, Alice. You made them. Compliments for you, then. The Hatter grinned with a wink. Wow, such flattery. Since you've put me in a good mood, I guess we can go ahead with Her Majesty's matter. She smiled as if laughing. In fact, she's been sitting here with us the whole time. Am I right? I sat up even straighter in confusion. Glancing around, I saw no queens in sight. Not a human nor animal besides the two of us here. The Hatter rolled the chair over and pulled the cloth off from over the chair's holdings. Ta-da! Dismemberment. Nausea ran up my spine. On the chair sat a chunk of meat dressed up in tattered human clothes. Oh, okay. Still dripping red, the flesh seemed to ripple, undulating. Was it rotting, or was it still alive? My head spun as I squinted at the thing. This meat, no, this thing resembled a human torso, with half a neck and chopped off limbs, dolled up with what could have been fancy clothes. This was surely human flesh. Okay, it's taking a very big turn, and I'm here for it. I sensed an odd familiarity to the torso, but also felt as if I was looking at it from an incorrect angle. This was the torso of a regal woman. This was raw human flesh. This is the Red Queen? The Hatter's eyes narrowed again, brows furrowed, but still smiling. An inappropriate question flitted across my mind. Could we consider it as sitting if it didn't have legs? I suppose yes. True. I thought you said you weren't a butcher, hatter. We definitely couldn't consider this as a hat. Having just eaten, the strawberry taste in my mouth turned to a meaty texture like raw pork. I could almost taste sweet, rotten fat. I swallowed. Her expression returned to normal. I wondered if the hatter wanted to make me sick. The hatter gave a wide smile. Yes, I'm a hatter. I closed my eyes and rubbed the bridge of my nose. Too distracted by the surprise, the feeling of my fingers almost felt like wet ground meat, even though I was sure that my digits were still attached to my palm. The image lingered uncomfortably behind my eyelids, not with disgust, but with another inexplicable emotion, a negative one for sure. I looked at the torso again, and it seemed so still. I saw exposed bone and a shattered trachea. The cut must not have been wholly clean, made with a blade sharpened, not quite enough yet, also dulled, not quite enough. Yes, this was the Red Queen. I knew not why I knew, but a voice in the back of my head told me that this was the Red Queen, a part of the Red Queen. I'm afraid Her Majesty can't speak right now. The hatter stirred her tea and popped a bite-sized sandwich into her mouth, munching happily. She sneered. Don't look like that, Alice. The hatter didn't dismember Her Majesty. Yes, Hatter is innocent. Since only the hatter spoke up in defense of herself, I wasn't particularly inclined to believe her. Whether or not she did kill the Red Queen, the end result sat before me. What should I do now? Alice is taking this very, very calmly. I guess I am too. I murmured my uncertainty at this dead end aloud. She smiled as if nothing was wrong. What do you mean? All you have to do is find all the other pieces. If you have anything you need Her Majesty for, all you need to do is put her back together. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to find her pieces? Let me guess. I'm just going to like torso, head, arm, leg. That would be pretty cool. Have you forgotten, Alice? Naturally. That sounded mad. So mad I wanted to laugh. This is Wonderland after all. All I needed to do was find the pieces. That was right, Alice. That was all you needed to do. It would either be terribly simple or terribly hard. I hoped that no one had fed the Red Queen to the pigs or minced her up for a patty. Regardless, all I really needed was a head and the torso if I wanted to talk to her, good point, to ask her about the secrets to returning home. May I take the body with me, Alice? How are you going to do that? The hatter narrowed her eyes. Alice, you were a civilized girl. Did you really want to lug around a piece of meat like you were some meat seller, selling to the cannibals? The hatter winked cheekily. No. That wouldn't be fair, don't you think? Once you find most of her parts, let's just say the limbs, I'll give you a special present and help you out again. She patted the box off to the side of the table. The box was just big enough for a cat or a cake or maybe something like a hat. It's her head, isn't it? It's her head. Of course, don't peek or trying to find out what the present is. It wouldn't be a surprise like that, and I'll be very, very upset if you cheat. With that smile on her face, I couldn't see her upset. Only muddled sincerity came through her voice. The hatter's mismatched eyes wandered, looking distracted as she did so. Now then, I've got to grab something off the stove before it burns. Question mark? There's a stove. The hatter got up from her seat and walked away. Here I was alone with the Red Queen's flesh. It was missing all 4 limbs and a head, so to make her whole, I would need to find 5 parts. I hoped that my search would be easy. Seeing as the hatter was nowhere in sight, I contemplated a decision regarding the curious box on the table. Okay, so I don't want to get into anybody's bad sides, so I'm gonna listen to the hatter. For now. Quick save. Thank you. Listen to the hatter. I shook my head. Music down the rabbit hole. hole. Wait, I've already done that. I shook my head. Instead of antagonizing the Hatter needlessly, I decided to take another sip of tea. I would see what was inside the box eventually. Oh, there she is. The Hatter returned soon enough. Her puppets were absent. Rather, in her hand was a hammer, glowing bright with heat. She chucked it to the side with a thump and let the metal sizzle on the ground. Everything's gonna burn around you. What was the hammer for? She grinned. Does a hammer need a reason to be? Anyways, go. Go ahead and try to find some of the Red Queen's body. An arm, a head, or maybe two. Just bring them back here for me to attach to this. So I'm already confident that in the box is the head. She pointed to the torso. It'll still be tea time when you come back. Let's just count you as an extra guest for the next tomorrow as well. To be exact with time, now was not tea time. I suppose there's not much else to do here. The Hatter's expression dampened a bit as I responded. I looked at my empty cup of Earl Grey and lifted myself up from the armchair. For what it was worth, I quite enjoyed this odd-hour tea. Shaking my legs just to make sure they hadn't fallen asleep, I started to leave. Until later. Off with the shen. No, off with the Off with I'm so sorry. Off with the shen. Am I saying it right? I don't think I'm saying it right. She leaned back into her chair and made a lazy wave my way. Somehow, she looked lonely. The search for the Red Queen. Okay, that's you. I think that's you. I turned to another forest path, walking forward and forward. After moving for a while, I realized that I had no idea where I was going. In simple words, I was lost. Cheshire. I walked around in a few circles before looking upward. There she is. Above, I saw a cat. A cat who resembled a girl, or a girl who resembled a cat, leisurely stood on a tall branch of a tree. She had sharp green-yellow eyes, pale skin, a cat-like smile. Her brown hair was tied into a ponytail. With an orange ribbon, her two cat ears on top of her head looked quite fluffy. She wore an orange cape with 3 black stripes and a fluffy white collar. With a tattered short black dress underneath, adorned around her neck was a collar with a bell. I know I'm reading this all wrong. Her one visible arm had a shackle around the wrist for her clawed hands, I noticed. There appeared to be something like stitches at the point where arm and shoulder connected. That I didn't notice. I liked the white rabbit, this cat, the Cheshire cat. I couldn't help but wonder if she was actually neither a cat nor a girl, and was just pretending to be either. I met her cat eyes, nodding in silent greeting. Her grin stretched across her face as she stared right back. Sharp teeth filled her mouth, and claws adorned her hands. This was probably a cat. Cheshire. Bell ringing. The flame that was her tail flickered, and she hopped down to meet me closer. I don't suppose you tell me which way I should go. Her eyes narrowed in amusement. I posed a silly question that I expected no answer for. After all, I was asking a cat for directions. Depends on what voice am I going for? What voice am I going for? I'm trying to remember the voice from the cartoon. Depends on where you... Nope, doesn't fit her. Depends on where you want to go. I feel like I'm just mixing the White Queen and the Dormouse and the Hatter at the same time. Okay. Depends on where you want to go. To my surprise, I received a response. To find the Red Queen. Ah, the crazy one. Are you sure you'd prefer not to go with the nice one? The one I'm searching for is the Red Queen. Alright, the Mad Queen. Then again, we're all mad around here. That is, except for Her Majesty the White Queen. She's too sad to be mad. If you're yeah, I'm so glad I got the sad part right. If you're looking for the Red Queen, up, up, down, down, left, right might help. I'm fucking remembering that. Up, up, down, down, left, right. Is this the game? This is the devs messing with me. Up, up, down, down, left, right might help. That The cat jeered. Self-awareness, Alice, self-awareness. The Cheshire Cat vanished into thin air. Soon enough, she reappeared. Just go to the White Queen instead. Maybe you'll find something on the way. She started to fade away again before popping back. I forgot to ask, how is the Hatter doing? She seems to be fine. It's still tea time over there. Me, it's always tea time with that one. After a time, she disappeared, leaving a grin lingering in the air before that too vanished. This was a grin without a cat, instead of a cat without a grin. The third time was a charm. The cat did not return. I can't say I've seen a I can't say I've seen a cat quite like that before. But again, Cheshire wasn't really a cat. Oh, damn it. Quick save. Okay, walking a few tree lengths more, I mulled over the odd advice she gave. Go up, up, down, down, left, right to find the White Queen. I think I should do exactly as Cheshire says, so we can go to the Red Queen immediately. But I also do miss the White Queen already. Also, I'm not aiming for anyone in particular to like romance. Whoever I end up with, I'll accept. So, because I'm not really aiming for anyone, I'm just gonna go up, up, down, down, left, right. I tried to remember just what the Cheshire Cat had said, speaking the pattern of directions aloud to a beat. Up, up, down, down, left, right. I felt as if I had missed a few times, but that was all that the cat had given. I backtracked to the position where I met the cat and followed the recommended directions. Soon enough, I found myself at a crossroad. I saw no limbs nor heads in sight. Left was labeled right, right was labeled left. With wrongly written signboards, I chose at random on where to go next. Every few meters, I found a new signboard with its own quaintly marked arrow. Whether or not they led to the right place was another issue. I slowed my pace to read the signs and followed them along. Today is a rainy day. I didn't know which genius thought to put a forecast onto a wooden sign on the side of the road, but I followed the direction to go right regardless. The sky had not a drop of rain in sight. Warning, cliff ahead. As it happened, neither was there a cliff ahead. Watch out for dragons. I looked for the dragons, but the dragons did not arrive. Shameful. At some point, the text on the signs turned to insults. Fool. You don't even know who you are. Stop following these signs. How many of these will you read? I walked and walked and walked. At the end of the final sign in the chain, I reached a clearing in the forest where I spotted a white rabbit talking with a limp. She appeared a little frightened, or perhaps more concerned. Your Majesty's left arm, please. I blinked. Then I blinked again. Rubbing my eyes, I saw the same image. I found one, yes. The white rabbit seemed just about to prostrate herself to a living, moving arm. The arm, despite being an arm, had taken the higher position. The ground here is dirty. You needn't crawl here. Shall I take you back to the palace? Or would you prefer to go to the garden or the courtroom? In fact, do you happen to know where Her Majesty is? The arm smacked the white rabbit. She frowned, brows furrowed. ... Although I silently observed, the arm noticed me and began to crawl over, one handful of grass at a time. It moved like a snake, like a worm, like a piece of flesh and bone that shouldn't have been able to move. Its writhing struggle sent a shiver up my spine. The white rabbit looked scared. I didn't know if I should pick it up or kick it away. I did neither, and it reached my feet. The arm proceeded to climb up my leg, up my cloak, clinging like some sort of dirty parasite, making its slow way up until I pushed past my building disgust to hold it in my hand instead. The flesh felt cold in my palm. I sensed no heartbeat at the wrist. Alice, Her Majesty's arm seems to have taken a liking to you. If you find Her Majesty, please return the limb to her and tell her that her rabbit did her best. You know what? I will. I feel like the white rabbit is just doing her best. I pray she hasn't met any trouble. But I also feel like she's a big victim of a toxic relationship. A limb coming off isn't an everyday occurrence. She made quite the understatement. Yes, of course. How did you know it was the Red Queen's arm? The rabbit took on a happy, excited expression. I would recognize Her Majesty's limbs anywhere. Why, Rabbit? Do you admire her very much? Yes, of course. I respect Her Majesty very much. She united Wonderland into his kingdom and kept peace with a watchful gaze on the criminal populace. Okay. She is a decisive ruler and holds an agreeable worldview. This should be her divine right to rule Wonderland. I've heard a cat call her mad. A dangerous expression flashed through the white rabbit's eyes for barely a second. Her smile quickly became a frown. The Cheshire Cat is a known problem element here. Her expression became increasingly stressed. If Her Majesty is mad, then such madness is in essence brilliance, words. Although I may not always be fated to be a favored courtier, to be an aid to her is my greatest honor. I feel very uncomfortable. I'm not sure why I feel uncomfortable, but I am. I cannot be White Rabbit without Her Majesty. Her smile returned. Yes, that should be how I view Her Majesty. I gave the rabbit's impromptu speech a short round of applause, balancing the detached arm in the crook of my elbow. The rabbit became flustered. She must also like you very much. All rulers had their dissidents and supporters. A certain man once said that a ruler was better feared than loved, if she could not be both. Despite all that the White Rabbit said, I knew a little more about the Red Queen. The Red Queen is the ruler of this land. What's your job, White Rabbit? Yes, she is the highest ruler of Wonderland. I deal with a little bit of everything, administrative matters, legal matters, and the personal matters of important people. Since we've met a few times, I could say that I'm important, couldn't I? That's right, Alice. ... To my tepid jest, I received a response that made me pause. The White Rabbit took out a watch and jumped in surprise upon looking at the time, quickly returning the watch to her pocket. Is it this time already? I'm afraid I must be off again, if that will be all. Thank you, Alice. Hurriedly bowing a few times, she dashed off back to work. Having obtained one limb, I searched around for another. Cool. I'll save that now. Before I knew it, the day passed. Hold on, let me just... I'm still in chapter 0. I'm in chapter 1 now. Great. Cool. Alright, so I think I'm going to leave that here. We got 1 limb down. That's great. There's 3 more to go. Or maybe 4, depending on what's in the box. But yes. I'm going to leave that right now here. Yes. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to watch the rest of this, I'll be trying to upload this playthrough every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So please subscribe. That would really help. Thanks again. See you guys in the next one.